All right, please rise as you are able. Daniel will lead us in our first song. Please rise as you are able and willing. Thank you. Opening song, y'all.
I'm sorry, whenever I have to make that noise, which I never mind doing, to turn on a mic, I always think of my little niece, Allie, who used to be riveted by that sound when she was a baby. She would just, just like stare in my mouth, and she is now 21, which means I am vintage. Here we go. Okay, so let's do, you got lyrics? That's not the lyrics. That's an odd bit of poetry, that slide. Here we go. There it is. No, yeah. So, here we go. Do you guys know this song? Yeah. All right. No, here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Now, I know you can sing louder than that. Now, given that there are way more winter coats happening in this room than happen in Orange County, California, where I live. So I understand we're a little chilly. So this is the best possible way to warm up the body. Are you ready? So take a deep breath from down from your belly, like a baby breathes. Are you ready to sing? Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Whoa, my soul is welcome here. Whoa, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh yeah. All right. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Whoa, my soul is welcome here. Whoa, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. One more time. Whoa, my soul is welcome here. Whoa, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Nice job. See, everybody feeling a little bluff.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to Unity of Flagstaff. I am not the Reverend Penny Honey, as we say. She is currently in political exile in Mexico, running and hiding from the U.S. government on charges that we cannot discuss and are totally unfounded. As we say here at Unity, it's tools, not rules. As we pass our basket around sometime today, we will have, you can put your prayer concerns in there. If you are new here, please put your information in there. Someone will reach out to you. It will not be me. Don't be worried. It's not what I do. It's not my job here. I am not the people person. Okay. So we have our next step, and I forgot my clicker and my cheat sheet. We have had a morning. Last morning we were super proud that we were ready to go at 9:40. That was not the case today. So for our opening prayer, I'd like to invite up Marcia. Where'd you go? There you are. Jeez. I am so on top of this today. There you go.
Okay. Lutheran minister Nadia Bolz-Weber I can't help it. She's a first cousin once removed. Entitled a recent Substack column, Why Prayer Isn't Like God's Gumball Machine. She says, I pray not because God is good and I am good, so I get what I ask for, but because God was, is, and will always be ready to comfort and sustain me. And there's just more holiness out around us than we have been led to believe. So let's take that into prayer. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Take a couple breaths. Today, I know the holiness that is in me and those I pray for. I celebrate the divine in the world. And I affirm that what we need is ready to be claimed. I rest in the deep comfort of this knowledge. And so it is.
So today's a little different in terms of our gratitudes, right? Yeah. We're going to invite Shar up to talk about this. And I know there's a lot of excitement in the room. We have Daniel Nahmod. But together, and just kind of, since we're not going to do a typical gratitude, can we just breathe in gratitude for all of you together? Let's just do it a few times. And slowly grounding ourselves in that gratitude. Breathe in one more time. Over to Shar.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Marcia. Today, as Ryan said, gratitudes and prayer requests are going to be a little bit different. So, as we know, our unity was founded on prayer. So, we have an awesome prayer team here. And so, whoever's on our prayer team, would you raise your hand, please? So look around. Look around, and if you have a prayer request for today, you can grab any one of us, and we'll go in the Serenity Room, and we'll pray with you. So we also have a prayer box right there behind Michael, and if you want to request a prayer, our prayer team holds it in our hearts for 1 month, and then we send it off to Silent Unity for 30 days. So feel free to also do that. There's always this little message. We collectively affirm with you and those that you pray and celebrate that the presence of good is in all things, and it is the one power. We know with you that God, the universe, spirit, whatever you call it, knows the details. So we're now for gratitudes today. Just turn to your neighbor and give them a gratitude and a hug if you want. Okay. All right. Has everyone shared their gratitude? All right. If you've shared I'm thankful for being here today. So that's my gratitude.
If you can hear me clap once, you can hear me clap twice. Okay, children, it's time to listen now.
That's where you lose control of the room as soon as you turn it over, right? Okay. So we are grateful for the power of prayer and the good news shared here today. And so it is, and so we let it be. So we're going to review unity principle number 1. Oh, it says 1 on my paper. Where is it? I know. Oh, here, I can just do it this way. We'll do it this way. All right, let's read together. Our essence is of God, or whatever you call it. Therefore, we are inherently good. The short version is, that be the truth, and that be us. So I'm going to introduce Hayden, and Hayden's going to introduce his dad, Tom. So.
Look how many people it takes to do Penny's job on a Sunday. Holy cow. Good gravy. All right. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're going to do some announcements first. And again, I need a sheet because I'm not Penny. Today, obviously, we have the potluck after service and a concert at 1 with Daniel. Randy's Plant-Based Foods is going to be serving us. There she is right there. She's serving the main dish today. And we also have she's going to be hosting a vegan cooking class on December 8th. You can sign up in the foyer or ask any questions directed to Randy. Next Sunday, the 24th, my dad, Tom, will be doing the message here. And we also have the coat drive is ending that Sunday. The 28th, Thanksgiving dinner. Penny will be not back yet. She will be back. Sorry, you're right. And holiday trim at 1 p.m. 12:01. My dad, Tom, will be leading the gift of thanks after 12:07. Are these up here? Okay. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to move on from this because this is complicated. All right. I am honored to be up here today to introduce my dad, Tom, to this congregation. Just a really quick fact. The last time I got to see Daniel Nahmod perform was about 2005 at Unity of Phoenix. During that time, actually, my dad was serving on the board there with Penny Honey at Unity of Phoenix. I'm grateful for my dad to plant that seed of service with me because I am sitting here today as a board member of this congregation. Almost 20 years later, getting to introduce my dad here. So let me bring him up and he'll give you a quick sneak peek of next Sunday.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you? I would say any day you can be in the house with Daniel Nahmod is a good day. Yeah. All right. So it is. Yeah. It's just a treat to be able to come back into Unity. Years ago, I had a couple life experiences that really foundationally moved me. I named it the gift of thanks, and I've been kind of spreading the message when the opportunity arises. And so, being able to share this with you in the Thanksgiving week is beyond my wildest dreams. I am so looking forward to it, to sharing with you all. I do have an invitation I'm going to give you, just one sentence to ponder, because I will be doing the message next week. Beyond that, the following week, we're going to do a workshop, and I really would love to see how you took this message over into the Thanksgiving period and what we can come up with there. So I look forward to working with you all. The question is, who in your life has affected you, made you who you are, or influenced who you are today that may not be aware of that? There's your question. And I do look forward to meeting you all and working with you all next week. Thanks.
Okay. All right, on to the big guy over here. Well, yeah. So one of the most influential and beloved independent artists and producers in the music business today, Daniel Nahmod, has sold over 200,000 CDs and 10,000 songbooks on his own Humanity music label. Performing for over 2 million people in 45 states and Canada, his songs have been heard on Saturday Night Live, American Idol, Today Show, Midnight Special, the Super Bowl, Jersey Shore, American Pickers, and many more programs. And we are grateful to have Daniel here in our presence today. And let's give a big Unity of Flagstaff welcome to Daniel Nahmod.
I am definitely most proud of Jersey Shore. And if you've never seen Jersey Shore, neither have I. All I know is what I've heard. And that is that I hope never to catch my son watching it. Well, you just walked me straight into what I was going to talk about today. That's just perfect. It's like almost like we're doing a little series, for real. That's really beautiful. Nice to see you. Yeah. There's one power, invisible, and just see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and just speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings, or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, or Jesus, or Lord. Call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, yeah. One power is what we are. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, oh. Mm. What we are is one. power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. I'd say there are probably an infinite number of meanings and experiences of the word and the idea of love. If somebody asked you in a speed round, what does love look like, and you didn't have time to think about it, what does love look like? Your baby? Your spouse? Your puppy? Your six-pack abs? What does love sound like? Johnny Mathis? Or Tony Bennett? My wife would say Celine Dion. Or is it a rushing wave on a beach? Is it a little baby's laughter? My favorite thing to watch on Instagram. Is it Stevie Wonder singing about love? Or Bill Withers or Whitney Houston or is it someone you love sleeping soundly, that sound? And what does love feel like? Is it safe? Is it exciting? Is it comforting? Is it a hug? Or someone holding your hand? Is it eye contact? Is it a tip that's $5 more than you expected to get? Or a compliment you didn't see coming? So, one of my favorite quotes from anybody is a quote from George Carlin, the comedian. Says we spend the first 9 months of our lives trying to get out of the womb and the rest of our lives trying to get back in. And I would certainly say that whether love for you is a noodle kugel that your grandmother used to make, or a chili, or a fireworks display on July 4th that's love, or the steaks your dad used to grill, or the clothes your mom made for you, or whether love is the crooner that you fell in love to. Whatever it really is all one feeling. It seems to me, in a million or even a billion different forms. You and I are walking around representatives of that love. We are recipients of that love, and we are givers of that love. All day, every day. It's not whether we're doing it, it's only whether we're aware of it. Tom asked that question for everyone to think about for the next week or two. And you think of someone who has impacted you for the better, who may not even know that they did. I love that question, and I love the flip side question. Imagine that there is someone in this room or in your family, someone you've worked with, someone you went to school with, someone you held a door for, someone you did a favor for, someone you spontaneously, unselfconsciously gave a compliment to. That person would think of you. You made that difference for them, and you don't even know it. So what is the power of the love in you and me? Is it God? Is it music? Is it money? Is it an election? Is it an economy? Is it a savings account? Is it a car? Is it a hug? Is it a Nintendo? Is it a fabulous head of hair or a yacht? Is it a food pantry? Or is it all of these things? Every day we get to choose not whether to give and receive love, not whether to acknowledge each other and be an influence on each other and make a difference for each other. We're going to do that one way or another. It's just a matter of whether we breathe deep enough and pause long enough to notice it, to appreciate it, and to wield that specific power that you and I have consciously. So do you? And do I? Jude is now almost 13, and when he had just started school, there was a boy in his class who was really struggling, boy, those are bright, who didn't speak a word of English. He had just arrived in the United States from Vietnam with his family and was really struggling, not surprisingly. 6 years old, can't follow instructions, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know who he's sitting next to, doesn't know what country he's in. So nobody blamed him, but that didn't make it easy for a teacher with 28 kids to handle one kid who didn't know when to stop talking and didn't know where to go or what, just couldn't follow anything. And Jude, our boy, would come home just about every day with a story about how Evan, we'll call him Evan, got in this kind of trouble or that, whatever it was. Never serious, of course, not serious trouble, but it wasn't going super smoothly for Evan. And one day, about 6 weeks into the school year, his teacher called Melina and me, my wife and me, and said, I wanted to tell you what your son did today. And nobody in this room goes, uh-oh, okay, because that tells me that you were all very good little kids. She said, I finished reading a book to the class today, all sitting on the rug, and your son raised his hand and said, I think Evan did such a good job listening that he should get an extra point today. Yeah, and when I told Jude when he came home that Evan probably didn't know what you said, but he knew how it felt. And it might have been the first time that everyone in the room turned to him and smiled, with no correction, no instruction, not even no judgment of any kind, just a welcome, I have a pretentious word that just popped into my head, approbation, just positivity, that's it. And it was only a few seconds, right? And it cost Jude nothing. And I told Jude, you will almost certainly never know the good that sentence did, but it did good. And when I think about the sentences that people have said to me, the people who have rooted for me, who wouldn't know it. The individual sentences. If I dared you to think of something, I promise you would. Something somebody said. By the way, I'll use the word evil as a joke, but for good or evil, you can drop a sentence into somebody's life, and it can linger, and it can build somebody up or tear them down. But I'm really more focusing on the building up right now. But so this is a song that I wrote, inspired by that phone call from our boys' teacher. Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me to give a couple dollars to a stranger on the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his first grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone, there's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope, my boy, you'll come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So put down roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child. Maybe this whole subject of kindness and making a difference, even a small difference in someone's life, and the people who have made even a small difference for the better in our lives. Maybe that's on my mind because Thanksgiving's a little bit famous, I think, for squeezing together people who may be more like oil and water than bread and butter. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm not talking about my family. Hi, everybody. It's going to be great. We can't wait to see you all. That's a joke. I did have an experience that will lead me to tell you about, and that will lead me to another song. And it's the experience I had with a friend of mine who I've known for like 15 years. Well, I thought I knew for like 15 years. All right, she was, my opinion of her was that she was cool and talented and smart and very wealthy from a successful business that she had very, very skillfully built, and very generous with her money. And she was a fantastic musician on top of everything, a hoot to hang out with. This person was, in my mind, just a winner all around. And then we had a chance to talk privately in a way that we never had before. And at some point it came out the story of where she came from. And the answer is that her childhood was one of those approximately worst case scenario childhoods, filled with abuse and abandonment and an orphanage and adoption into another abusive family. And she had left as young as she could have, and went on to build this life that I had been looking at and admiring for these 15 years. And I'm sitting there as she's telling me this, and I'm thinking, I had you all wrong. I thought you were awesome. It turns out you were way more than that. Way stronger and more resilient and more persevering, more determined. I mean, this, it's like a free association, sorry, but that's the way my mind works. Is I think of, I had a girlfriend in college whose parents, I grew up in Skokie, this is a north suburb of Chicago, and her parents, she grew up in Skokie, but her parents had moved there from rural Kentucky. They had a thick drawl. My girlfriend's mother was, to call her one of the greatest cooks I've ever, her food was stupid delicious. She was so brilliant, I'm sure still is, so brilliant at cooking. If you've never had chicken and dumplings made from scratch, my Lord, and biscuits, and it was just intense. Food at their house. But, it's like you meet a couple of nice, laid-back people, and you think, nice, laid-back people. But the truth is, they came, I'm not revealing any names, of course, but they came from what they call the holler. They came from some of the deepest poverty in the United States. They came from rural Appalachia in Kentucky and moved to Chicago, Illinois. Now, my grandparents came from a small town in Poland. They were Holocaust survivors. They were shell-shocked for the rest of their lives. They lost everyone in their family. They made it to Chicago. They made a life the best they could. They were, of course, never whole and healthy emotionally. Who could expect them to be? But they did the best they could. They raised kids and, ran their families and so on. Those people, my Bubby and Zadie, they have a very commonly acknowledged, they have a mantle that they could wear. They didn't, of course, talk about it, but if I tell you that, all I have to tell you is that part of their story, and you can feel naturally, wow, they went through some things. Well, so did my girlfriend's parents. As kids and as young adults, growing up with some of the greatest social problems that America struggles with, all in one place. I visited and I saw. And they emigrated to Chicago from Kentucky, well, kind of two different countries. So they were nice and laid back, but they were strong and fierce and determined to give their kids a better life than they had. And that's why they did it. So, back to my friend, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, my God, this is spectacular. I just thought it was, I thought it was excellent, and it's much more than that. And I wrote this song that I'll sing for you now, and I sang it on one of my Facebook shows, which I still do on Monday nights. You're always invited. The Price is Right. And that night, I got 3 text messages from 3 of my closest friends who had been watching the show. I don't know why they were, but they happened to have been 3 different friends of mine asked me if I wrote it about them. So of course I said yes to all 3 of them. And no, I'm not talking about you. Of course not. And then I started singing the song in public, and it started dawning on me that what my friend had taught me about herself by telling me her story may be a more universal fact than is commonly acknowledged. That anyone in this room and anyone you know and anyone at your office and, the least likable person in your family could break your heart with their story. We don't go around talking about these things, nor would we want to. I've been in elevators, I had corporate jobs, and the stultifying conversations in the corporate cubicles, I still remember. It makes my skin go cold. How's it going, Bob? Good, Dan. How was your weekend? Fantastic. Kids good? Great. You had a good vacation? Wonderful. And you get off the elevator, and that's the end of it. I mean, you actually didn't say anything at all. We know. The same is true in school. I mean, where, besides like a place like this, right, besides a community like this, where is a real conversation? Even here, right, people tend to be polite. But much less than on a bus or in an elevator or at an office. People tend to be just polite, right? But if a person, you or I or anyone you know, as far as I can tell, were to actually say what they'd been through to become who they were, it wouldn't matter if they were your accountant or rolled your burrito or living on the street or living in a penthouse apartment. It wouldn't matter. You would have, even if you still didn't like them, you'd be bound to feel connected to them and compassionate towards them. So here is the song inspired by that conversation with my friend.
I've never understood how you turned out so good with all that you've had to endure. No one expected you to make the best of you. The deck stacked against you for sure. The more that I learn, the more I admire how you never got burned being forged in the fire. Yeah, an ordinary mortal would have quit by now, with a life like a field full of mines. You're human, I know, made of muscle and bone, but you must have steel in your spine. You never talk about when you first figured out that you'd have to go it alone. Breaks my heart to picture you, a child hiding out of you, so young to fight on your own. But still here you stand, and still here you are, igniting the world with your luminous heart. Yeah, and ordinary mortal would have quit by now. With a life like a field full of mines. You're human, I know, only muscle and bone, but you must have steel in your spine, and that would explain how you never admit any pain. So let me just say that child has a lot to be proud of, but no longer needs to keep the world at bay. If you were mortal, you'd have quit by now. You've been counted out so many times. You're human like me. You can bruise, you can bleed, but you must have steel in your spine. Yeah, a mortal would have quit by now, but your light was determined to shine. There's so much more than they see. A superhero to me. You must have steel in your spine. You must have steel in your spine. Oh, 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 oh.
One more story and song for you today before we wrap up the service. And I hope you'll stick around, have some bite to eat, and rather than go outside and freeze your butt off for the rest of the afternoon, come in, hang out. Well, I'm sorry, that's me projecting, and come back to hear some more music in here at 1 for about an hour and a half. No intermission, very simple, just a bunch of songs, a couple more stories, and probably a couple of inappropriate free associations. But that is how I roll. And anyway, so one of the things, again, back to the question you posed, which I love, who impacted you that may not even realize they impacted you, who looked out for you, who wanted the best for you. If I ask you, who said something that lifted you up or built you up, that may or may not even know they said it, right? Do you think of something random? Do you think of something? I think of Becky Jones. Probably shouldn't say her whole name, but Becky Jones in high school. I walked by her. It was like sophomore year, and I walked by her, and she turned around and she said, "Ooh, Dan, nice butt." Right? Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know about you. Obviously, how can I? But I mean, I did not feel attractive. I was not well dressed. I was not cool. I was not popular. I had horrible clothes, horrible glasses. Don't tell me if you still feel this way about me. But back then, I mean, I just didn't have any confidence. I certainly didn't feel like, I'd never thought about my own butt. And that was but it gives you an idea of how significant that compliment was. Because I still remember it was like 1985, 1986, and I was like, really, But it made a difference for me. I mean, I'm still holding on to that compliment. I still don't believe her, but I'll take it, So even just like a comment like that somebody once made to you, right? A teacher, a friend. I had a friend in my very first, I'll call it an album. I recorded a few songs, and I made some tapes. Remember tapes? Made some tapes of my first album, and I gave it out to a few friends. And one of my friends, Dean, he actually I haven't thought about this in 25 years probably, but he took the time, he wrote a review of my album. He gave it like a rave review for nobody to read, I think, but me. That's that kind of thing. And there's no question, right? If you look around this room, I mean, some of these people, some people in this room you know well, some you don't, but there's no question. Every single person in this room has done something like that, right? And most of the good that we do is unacknowledged, not by the person who receives it, but by the world. I mean, how many people win a CNN Heroes Award or a Nobel Prize or whatever it is? How many people? Very, very few. It's like getting into the major leagues of good deeds, The rest of us, not even the major leagues, Hall of Fame, right? The rest of us, Gandhi was actually concerned about that when he was held up as so spectacular a human being. He always used to say, do not think of me as exceptional. Because if you think of me as exceptional, then the things I'm doing will seem out of reach for you, and they're not. Because he really was just a guy who got thrown off a train. And instead of getting angry, instead of giving up, he kind of hunkered down for justice and didn't let it go until the day he died. That was just a decision he made, and decisions like that, small and large, are available to us at any moment. One of those sentences that I'll share with you that was said to me, which besides Becky Jones, which was a pretty good one, but another sentence that was said to me came out of the song I'll sing for you right now to close this little segment. If you think about the good you do, like I told Jude, you'll probably never know the good that your one sentence did for Evan, right? Well, another thing I talked to Jude about at the time was that my other bubby, my dad's mom, came to the United States, the youngest of 13 kids. All 13 emigrated from Poland with their parents. And Betty, tiny little Betty, I really literally think she peaked at like 4'6". It's not a nice joke, but even she would have chuckled to hear me say she was about as wide as she was tall. I inherited her love of exercise. And Pop-Tarts, and not in that order. But Betty came to the United States, and I visited her with that guitar on her deathbed at 98 years old, which tells you a lot about whether fitness actually keeps you alive a long time. But that's another subject. Sorry. For the joggers in the room, I apologize. But I visited Betty, my little bubby, or Boo Boo, I call her sometimes, little Boo Boo, on her deathbed, and it was clear that she was going. And I visited her and talked and sang her a couple of her favorite Jewish songs, and talked to her about memories of her life that I really cherished myself, and memories that she cherished. And one of my favorite stories that I truly, sincerely asked her to repeat there and tell me more about it again was the fact that she arrived in the United States not speaking a word of English, this teeny tiny, malnourished, penniless Polish immigrant, and started in kindergarten not speaking a word of English, and in second grade won the spelling bee. And 90 years later, it was still one of her proudest achievements, right? And not only was it one of her proudest achievements, but it was almost certainly, and this was a sharp lady, but she did not go to high school. She left school back then, it was about 1910 or 12 or something. She left school to help support her parents, who were elderly at that point, because she was the youngest. And it was probably the peak accomplishment of her academic career, was that spelling bee in second grade. It was probably the best moment she had in school. But meanwhile, she went on to have 2 boys and raised them herself. My grandfather was nice to his grandsons, but he was not a good man and not a nice man otherwise, not a reliable man. So she did the job. She worked full-time at Sears Roebuck, and she raised 2 boys, one of whom was troubled and trouble. I'm told that he resembled his father in a lot of ways in his behavior, but decided to straighten himself out by going into the military, joined the Navy, and died in uniform on a submarine in an accident at peacetime in his young 20s. And my bubby had the folded up flag on her wall the rest of her life and never could talk about her son, Jack, my uncle, who I never met. Her older son, though, got a full scholarship to the University of Chicago, academic scholarship, then got a full academic scholarship to Harvard University for law school, then became a law professor for 45 years, a renowned, actually renowned expert in his area of constitutional law, which was First Amendment rights, yours and my right to free speech and assembly and practice or non-practice of faith, and the press. That was his specialty. And then he himself had 3 boys, all of whom graduated college, all of whom are more or less gainfully employed. And but my father is that professor, that law professor. So you tell me, would my, and by the way, my Bubby had no idea what University of Chicago was, no idea what Harvard Law School was. She said, "You're going to be a liar like your dad?" That's what she'd say to Bubby. He's a lawyer, not a liar. They're all liars. That's what she'd say. They're all liars. But having that academic moment, having that experience of becoming the best speller in the class, you think it didn't impact how she raised her sons? Guarantee it did. That she focused a little bit more or a lot more on her sons going to school and sticking in school. Therefore, it stands to reason that my dad's entire course of life was well impacted by my Bubby winning the spelling bee in 2nd grade, which means that whoever stepped up to help Betty, a new immigrant to the United States, penniless and Englishless, a tiny little girl, somebody stepped up to help her learn how to spell. That person gave me the opportunities I've had. So don't tell me that a little sentence or 5 extra minutes helping somebody doesn't reverberate forever. Because now Jude is in school and his parents are looking over his shoulder, making sure he's focusing on his grades. Somebody helped Betty learn how to spell in about 1910. And I am still benefiting from it. And you are benefiting just the same from the good words spoken, the good acts done that are forgotten to history, that no one witnessed. Somebody stepped up and loaned your parents or your grandparents, whenever you arrived in the United States or whatever hardship you were facing, somebody visited somebody in the hospital, somebody baked somebody a souffle, somebody taught somebody how to do math, and somebody became an accountant, and on and on and on. These little things add up to everything. The one power that I sing about is not just names of God and not just practices of religion and not just holidays and holy books. That one power is a single kind sentence unexpectedly spoken to somebody. The little bit of extra help that your teacher gave you in school. You don't even remember it, but it built you up. Okay? So on to a final song. This song this song is at the end of an album of mine called Water. And when I released this album, I had pre-sold a lot of copies of CDs. Remember those? You know, I have some on my table, actually, but I had pre-sold a whole bunch of Water CDs. So come the day when this album came out, it was 2006. It was a very important album. I'll talk a little bit more about it this afternoon at the concert and sing about several more songs from this album. But you never know whether it's any good. You know, I liked it. I was proud of it, but that's it. That's all I got. So I mailed out a couple thousand copies of the Water album to people who had pre-ordered it. And, you know, you just kind of hold your breath. You know, they go into the mail and walk away. I walk away. Well, 1 week later, I got an email from a girl named Emily. Emily had been at a conference that I had sung at for 5 or 6 straight years. I was not singing at it anymore, but like 2000 to 2005, I was at this conference every summer on the West Coast. And there was a little girl named Emily who used to stop by and ask me if she could help me sell CDs. And I learned that's very good for business, to have an adorable little girl, hawking CDs. But while she was standing next to me, she peppered me with 1,000 questions. How do you write a song? How did you make a CD? Where did you record this? How do you play piano and sing at the same time? Why did you do that in that song? Why did you get loud and not quiet? And on and on and on, right? Well, she was lovely and she was adorable, and what am I not going to do? Of course I'm going to answer her questions, so I
talked to her for a long time, for 5 straight years. This was a conference that lasted days, right? So, and then I lost touch with Emily for a couple of years, and then out came the Water CD. And I hadn't noticed that she had been one of the pre-orders. And I got an email a week later after the album came out. And there's a line in this song I'll sing for you, and the line is, "Does a child stand a little bit taller because of something that I said?" Okay? And Emily said, she said, "Hi, it's Emily," in the email. "I don't know if you remember me. I'm that little girl who peppered you with 1,000 questions about how to make music for a living, and I want you to know that I've just filled out my applications to go to college as a music major, and I want to make music for a living, and you made such a huge difference for me answering all those questions and being so patient with me and showing me how a singer-songwriter makes a living singing and writing songs. And I just listened to your Water album, and I love it, and I wanted you to know." Still emotional. "I wanted you to know that if you're wondering if a child stands a little bit taller because of something that you said, the answer is yes. Love, Emily." Yeah. To this date, even better than Nice Butt Dan. That is to this day, and I've had a chance to thank her since then, and I tell that story partly because it's very emotional and personal for me, but also because I know that it is not an exceptional story. You could tell the same story, and someone would tell the same story about you, and that is what Thanksgiving is going to have to be about. You're going to sit with people you know and don't know, like and don't like. They have steel in their spine too. They've been through a lot too. They've made a difference for somebody too. You don't have to like them to acknowledge humanity and to know that the work they've done, they are their own ancestors' legacy. They're the living legacy of the people who came before them, and they are doing the best they can, and so are you. We are the legacies of the people who came before us and all the people who have dropped a little sentence of kindness into our heads, a little extra help, a little spelling help, or whatever it is. This is a very rich, complicated fabric that we are a part of. Single drops in a beautiful ocean of love. If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what will I have to show? Oh, but fortune and fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. But is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to heal, it's hard to understand. all I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller 'cause of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on if I am out of time?
All right, we'd like to welcome Sue Mine up to do Maine. Sorry, I've never heard that loud. It's my bad. I've just known you as Sue. Sue, please come forward. Take the spotlight off me getting your name wrong. I've only known you for 4 or 5 years now.
We're glad you came.
Thank you. Me too.
It's a time of overflowing. The interconnectedness that I feel with everyone here has just been expanded. Experientially, expanded connection. We thank you all for being here, for joining in this wonderful celebration. And so this is our time to share that wonderful abundance. And so if the greeters will come forward, we can all share in blessing these baskets and honoring the goodness that we have experienced here, and hope that you will share it with all of us for the goodness of this organization. Thank you. Go forward. I guess I'm supposed to say next slide, please. We appreciate our YouTube viewers. There are lots more ways to express appreciation. You can go to www.unityofflagstaff.org/donate or mail your gift to P.O. Box 1740, Flagstaff 86002. And as always, we thank you for your support. That's how we keep going week after week, creating these wonderful opportunities for people to gather together in special ways. I'm so glad you're all here for this. Thank you, Daniel.
You're so welcome.
And I hope you will stay for the concert afterwards. And there will be food in the building next door, or the space next door. So you're all welcome whether you brought something to share or
And
not.
please take your chairs with you over there.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yes.
Chairs over.
Or else you'll just be standing
Yeah.
eating around like horses or something like that.
Right.
And then bring them back for the concert, or else you'll be standing around like horses.
Right. A lot of horses happening in this metaphor.
Okay.
Yes.
Bring those baskets forward. And if we could have the next slide, please. So we would like to read this together and affirm. We give thanks advance for these gifts and afterwards. And here's to our highest good. And so it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Another
okay,
song
so-
from Daniel, please.
So, well, I thought we'd close. We're closing, right? I thought we'd close with a song to sing together, but I think technically I'm supposed to sing the same thing we sang at the beginning. But do you guys know "Love Is My Decision"? Some of you know it. Okay, I'll give you the words. If you don't know it, you can make up words if you want. Frankly, it's what I do for a living. It's pretty fun. But I'll give you words for the song as we sing it. It just feels like it. I think it just ties together the morning in a bow. And it's kind of fun to sing. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. And I'll be out. I have a table out there that looks like the Nahmod Family Craft Show, because it is. Because I have the music. I have a USB drive which has 14 albums on it now, a flash drive of about 11 hours a song, 180 or 90 songs, something like that. Then I have a little bit of woodworking that I do, and then I have my wife's jewelry. She is a silversmith. She stays at home with Jude and makes beautiful things at home, and then I travel with it. So that's why there's shiny things on the table. And I really do hope, sincerely, you'll come back at 1 o'clock. I have no idea is there a price set for the concert? Real quick, before we sing. Okay, so it's $20, but it's suggested, right? So, because I know Penny, I've known Penny a long time. There is no way Penny or I or anyone else involved would want you to not come if $20 is hardship. Don't not come because of the money. Be my guest and Penny's guest, and just consider it a little Thanksgiving treat, okay? And now, that being said, if you have a $1,000 bill you don't know what to do with, you're welcome to, it supports me and it supports the church, but but the money is a suggested amount, right? Am I right about this? Right, okay. The money is suggested, so you can give more, you can give less, and if you don't have any, I'm a singer-songwriter, I get it. Don't give any, just right, just come in and listen to some songs as our treat, okay? That's the truth. So here's a song called "Love Is My Decision." If you're inclined and comfortable standing, it's good for the diaphragm, good for breathing, and let's sing this to close together. Here we go. Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to give of my heart, to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start, can tell me to start. That's the first half. The second half repeats every time. It goes like this. And once I decide to change my mind, sing that line, once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision, right here and now, right here and now. All right, you got it. Here we go. Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to stand on that bridge, to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive, can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision, right here and now, right here and now. All right, one more time. Love is my decision. It's up to me. It's up to me to dance down that road, to dance down. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load, can lighten my load. Once I decide to change my mind, to change my mind, God will show me how. God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision. decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
And before we head out, let's affirm the light of God surrounds us. And all is well. Go in peace, friends. Take your chairs if you're going next door.